Hey guys, Naz here with another video. In this video, I'll be going over how to win at the new PvP mode added in patch 6.1, Crystalline Conflict. To start things off, I'm gonna need you to teleport to the Wolf's Den in the Lenosia area. The reason is because the most important thing is to get your UI right. This new game mode has some UI elements that I highly recommend you tweaking. To access the UI, go to System, HUD Layout, and click on the Duty tab. You'll want both your ally and enemy info bigger as this holds valuable information. It tells you the exact HP they have and their MP. It also shows you if they have their limit breaks up. Every job has a completely new limit break and most, if not all, have a huge impact in teamfights, so you need to know when to play around them. Okay, now that your UI is set up, let's make sure your cross and hotbars are set up. Go to Character, Actions and Traits, Main Commands, and PvP Profile. From here, you'll want to assign all your PvP actions and limit break. Please read your tooltips and know what they do. If you need a beginner's guide, then I'll have a playlist linked in the cards and in the description of all the ones I've made so far. Now that your cross and hotbars are set up, let's go hit a dummy before you get into an actual fight so you get a little comfy. There's dummies here on the pier, and if you go down in the basement and up the steps, we have some more. Practice makes perfect, my friends. Okay, we did all the outside prep work that we can do. Let's start off with the first map. This map has no environmental hazards, so it'll be a true test of skill. These sides give you increased movement speed. Use them when you need to back up and heal. On the map, I roughly marked where potions spawn. These give you 30,000 HP back instantly, which is huge in teamfights as it keeps you in them longer. As for the game mode itself, as long as one ally is on the objective, it'll move. If one ally and opponent is on it, then it'll be a standstill until one is removed either by killing them or pushing them off of it. So this means if you have 4 allies and 1 enemy on the objective, it won't move. Once you get to the checkpoints, you need to stand on it for it to charge up these circles, and once it's done, you'll see this message. After clearing the first checkpoint, all you have to do is take it to the end and you win. If you don't get to do so, then the team whoever has the most progress when the time is up will win. If an opponent is on the objective as time runs out, we'll go into overtime. In overtime, the objective moves faster. Overtime is over once your team is past the opponent's progress, or there's just one team left on the objective, if you are already winning. Now that we've gone over how Crystalline Conflict works, let's go over how crucial it is to fight on the objective. I know, I had to say fight on the objective. You don't know how many times I've seen my allies fighting someone in the back of the opponent's base. No matter how much damage you dealt or kills you have, they won't help us win the game unless they were done helping move the objective. This game mode has no snowball mechanics. In other modes you had Battle High or crates that gave you regen and charge your LB faster. In this one, there's nothing. You will always be fighting on even ground. So if your team just lost 2 members, it's now a 2v4. You will most likely always lose if you're on the same skill level. This game mode heavily rewards a number advantage, so use this quick chat function once you see you're outnumbered. Regroup and fight again with hopefully a limit break on your side. Before I touch the next topic, please, for the love of Heidelin, use your limit break, especially if the match is almost over. You don't know how many times I lost the game and there were at least 2 limit breaks on my team unused. This is so baffling to me as most jobs have game-changing limit breaks. Please make your limit break UI bigger if you don't know what's up. Now, where were we? Oh yeah, speaking of regrouping, in the background will be a game I should have lost, but the enemy trickled on in. You probably already seen this, but let me go over what trickling is and why you absolutely do not want to do this. Trickling is when you lose a team fight, but 1 or 2 of your allies were still alive, but they ignored my previous tip. They continue to fight against the odds, trying to buy time, but they will lose, and now they're on a 10+ second respawn timer, while their allies who were dead are now back into the fray. Now these allies will come and try and defend the objective, and they'll die, and it'll be a rinse and repeat cycle. Their team is never fighting a 5v5 anymore. We always have the number advantage, and like I said prior, there's no snowball mechanics, so even if the opponent had a god tier player, the game never rewarded them by giving them some sort of advantage, so even they will fall to us. Let's move on to the win map. Here's where the potions roughly spawn. Now the same rule applies to this map, so I'll skip over repeating myself and cover the uniqueness of this one. Upon seeing this message, all players will be lifted into the air and they'll take 30,000 damage when the time is up and they've landed again. What you should do most of the time is use guard around 4 seconds or less to prevent the knockup so you don't take the 30,000 damage. Now on rare occasions, if the chocobo's next to you, you can stand in it. This will give you a secret buff. Not only will you take no damage when you land, but you'll get this buff. It increases your movement speed and gives you a haste for your GCDs for 30 seconds. But with the time it takes to drop, you only get 25 seconds of it. This map is nice and open, so casters can be very powerful here as there isn't much cover for you to line of sight them. For this, I prioritize killing them here. Speaking of prioritizing kills, let's go over that quickly. Generally, you want to prioritize killing anyone who's low on MP because this means they can't out-heal your burst with recuperate. If it's in the start of the match, then go for healers as they act as extra recuperate for the enemies. Next, I try to kill the ranged and casters as they have less HP and most have at least one form of crowd control, making them really annoying. Then we'll try to kill the melees and tanks. This is the priority system I mostly use and I have been successful with. Here's a macro I've been using as a control player to help target down enemies quicker. What this macro does is attack the person to the number. So 1 will attack the first enemy on the enemy list, 2 will attack the second, and etc. Back to where we were, the fire map. Once again, the same rule applies here. Here's the potion spawns, and now we'll go over the unique map hazard. Bombs will spawn after you see this message. This can be very annoying, especially when it happens in the middle of the arena and you were pushing the objective. I suggest just backing off and prioritize staying alive. If one line hits you, that's 30k damage. And unlike the wind map, this repeats for 30 seconds, so you can just die from these. If you cannot escape in time, then use guard. Guard will reduce the damage to 3k. Now let's talk about how I like taking advantage of this. If you're playing a job with a bind, heavy, stun, or sleep, then you want to use that here. This will usually net you a free 30k on an enemy, making the team fight afterwards much easier. Now what I see most players doing is avoiding the balls left behind by the bombs. Don't do that! Pick them up! They give 1% damage increase per stack for 30 seconds. While 1% may not seem like a lot, it adds up especially when you go to burst somebody. My last tip for those who are serious about winning is to make sure you learn what each job is capable of, and how they want to play so you can better play around them. There are some games where we just get bad teammates and there's nothing we could do about it. Don't get upset. Remember, the only thing you control is your performance out there, and even with that, you'll still lose. Just chalk it up and try again because the matches can be quite short when this happens. No need to tilt over something you can't control, right? If there's any other tips or tricks you'd guys like to share that I didn't cover, please leave them down in the comments below. I want PvP to be fun for everybody, so please share. If this video brought you value, please leave a like and consider subscribing to see more. Until the next video, I'll see ya.